Cool. So, do you want to start with the YouTube channel?
No, I'm not going to start with the YouTube channel.
Okay.
The reason why I basically don't have a plan at the moment, but what's in my mind, like I was saying, is put together that book
Cool.
that will be divided into a couple of segments. And that book will really be kind of like a product for me.
Okay.
And it will also kind of form part of what I'll be talking to people about. And it's really about me kind of like putting myself out there
Okay.
and talking about my life,
Right.
my experiences, my lessons, and everything that I've gone through from religion, church, relationship with God,
Okay.
finances, business, from my disease of addiction. So all of those things, that I'm currently also including, also going through now, I'll be talking about in
Okay.
that book. So I think maybe from a digital perspective, that will probably come later, because from that perspective, I want to have a proper plan in terms of now, when I do have the book, it will be a product. And then maybe while I think about it now, I will probably then need to have a digital strategy and say, how am I going to market and promote myself as a brand, as a speaker, and secondly, as someone that has a product to sell and wants to probably maybe reach out and help others.
Cool.
So I think the digital space needs a plan. I think so. I need to plan that.
Cool. So you spoke about 3 segments.
Yeah, for now.
What are those 3 segments?
The 3 segments for now is the religion,
Okay.
church, okay. The second one is finances, money. The other one is business. Okay, the other one is my disease of addiction.
Okay.
The other one that I'm really now feeling is getting close to my heart is the topic and the issue around men and the issues that affect men. And that really boils down to my experience and the challenges that I've had as a man, and what my journey now that I'm taking is actually, the things that I'm learning, the things that I'm seeing. So I want to also include that. There's also other stuff maybe that I might include from a socio-political perspective in the book. So it will be kind of like my life in one book, divided into segments, because I think as people we are multifaceted. We're not just spiritual beings. There's physical. There's like a lot of aspects to us. So
Right.
I'll be touching on all those different aspects on that book. So I've started writing some stuff.
Okay.
So I want to continue to write that stuff.
So which segment have you started with?
Now, I've actually started with a segment that speaks to my disease of addiction, my relationship with my ex, and church. Okay. In my letter to my wife, that it's like a 17-page letter that I've written.
Okay.
It's very short because there are still stuff that I need to say in that in that on those topics. But from that letter, I will actually be kind of like going into detail, when developing the book.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
When did you get this idea from, or was it just been
Always wanted to write a book. I've always wanted to write a book one day, because the stuff that I want to say, the things that I would like the world to know. One of the reasons why I have a passion, I think maybe also for speaking, is the fact that I sometimes feel that there are things that the world needs to know and hear. I feel that there is a fear and a reluctance to accept the truth, and people want to be comforted by lies and things that make them feel good and comfortable, and fear to confront and face the truth, because I think that the truth really grows us and the truth really transforms us as people. So I think that there's a lot I can contribute to, basically, to people, and also help people, based on my experiences. I kind of also feel that people feel that life is a template that everyone needs to tap into or plug into. I think that every person's journey is different. I think God created us that way. So our journeys with God will not be the same, and we will not have similar experiences, even though we may share challenges similarly, but our journeys are going to be different. So I want to share my journey and say, this is what I went through, and this is what I'm going through. Maybe from what I've gone through or what I'm going through, you may pick up something that may be of assistance to you, because that's how I learn and that's what I've learned,
Cool.
from other people.
So, what kind of timeline are you working with before you get to publishing? Or
I want to finish the. I want to do the book. I want to get busy with the book this year. What I would like to do then, because I need to do like, there's a lot of work that needs to be done, in the book. So I don't want to just do a book just because hey, it's a good feeling. Good I'm an author. I've got a book. I need to go and do research. I need to go out and speak to people. Especially from a religious perspective, there are things that I need to explore, and there are people that I would need to talk to. There's a lot of things that need to come into the book, the research, the facts, and everything. So I want to work on that this year. So I'm not in a hurry to finish it. I'm in a hurry to get as much as I can into the book and make sure that the stuff that is in there is good quality stuff.
cool.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the book might come out next year, or whenever.
Yeah.
But before it does come out, are there things that you know right now that you could still express that can still be helpful to
Yeah.
other people
Yeah.
currently right now? If you don't read another book, if you don't do any research,
Yeah.
are there things that right now that are in your heart or in your experience
Yeah.
that if you were able to speak about them, that other people might resonate with and connect with currently?
I can speak now about my experience with finances and money, personal finances. I can speak about church, okay, religion. I can speak about that based on my experiences as well. I can speak now about my disease of addiction, because it's something that I'm living with and something that I've, gone through and in. So those are the things that I can speak about. I can also maybe share some of the things that I've experienced as a man and what I'm going through as a man, what other men are also going through, So I think that I can speak on those things, and it's really my experiences. You find someone that has gone to China and someone that has not gone to China and actually read a brochure about China and what's happening in China. So between those two people, who are you going to listen and believe and take what they say? I would take the person that actually been to China and experienced China and saw everything that's happening there, So so that's what my thing is. I want to talk about my experiences, you know.
So what's holding you back from?
I think, to be honest with you,
Because
I
you got the experience, right? Like
yeah
no one knows Teboko like Teboko knows Teboko.
Yeah.
You've been there.
yeah
You've seen the whole story unfold on where you've come from religious aspects, from, as you talk about being a man aspect,
yeah
your own personal journey with addiction and recovery. No one seems to know you more than you know. So what more are you waiting for other people then maybe also to discover and to connect?
I'm holding myself back, and the root cause of that, I can just maybe boil it down to fear. I am afraid that I'm afraid about what people will say and what people will think. To be brutally honest with you. So
So let's get brutally honest. What is it that you think they're going to say that you won't be able to somehow cope with if you heard it?
yeah, I kind of feel that something in my brain is telling me to know you don't have enough information to talk about this. For instance, the money stuff. I can talk about my experiences and what I've learned and what I've read, but at the same time, the side of the other piece is telling me you don't know much, you don't have enough information. So how can you confidently and talk and be a credible source of information about that stuff? So I think that's one of the things that's happening to me. I feel like I don't have enough, and the thing is, at the same time, there will never be enough knowledge. I think as people we can all only contribute to what on for contribute with what we have. You know what I'm saying? Even the people or the professors that have the doctorates and the PhDs don't know everything. They know
Right.
limited information and knowledge. So I think that's my thing. But
And isn't it also sometimes the guys with the PhDs and doctorates, we also kind of disqualify them because we're also like, those guys are like,
yeah,
they don't understand where we are,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know, as people.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
almost like, okay, he's a doctorate and he's talking that type of language.
yeah.
Isn't there space for us at wherever level we are to connect with other people who can be like, yeah, man, I'm also same kind of age. I've also come around the same kind of environment with the same type of fears and, the same type of pressures of what needs to be done and how it needs to then be communicated or otherwise. So isn't there space for your authenticity to then really connect with other people
I
and
think
free them the same way you talk about that fear? Because maybe if you speak, then other people can also say, okay, I don't have to have the whole thing because no one else is going to have the whole
yeah.
thing. But whatever level you are currently might just be the level someone really needs to hear that.
Most definitely. I think Toastmasters is a perfect environment for me to do that. So yeah, man, I must do that. I must do that. You know. So yeah, I think I'm happy that we're having this discussion because I think the more we talk, the more things come from the deep to the surface, and then you're like, oh, actually, I'm the one that is actually stopping me, and the real reason why I'm stopping me is A, B, and C, you know. And to be honest with you,
So I wanted to get to that. Like,
yeah,
tell me one thing that you like really afraid that if you heard that, game over, you can't come back from that one. Is that the one where someone will say to you, Teboko, who are you to talk to us about finance? Is that the thing that you're afraid if you heard that would possibly flatten you out and you can't come back from that one?
no, I don't think there is. I can't think of anything that will make me say I heard this and it just like crushed me. I don't think there is. I can't think of any at the moment. I can't because I think our world is in a crisis and I'm supposed to be the one of the people that are there to kind of like contribute something that I think and believe I have.
Right.
So yeah,
So they say you can never win the lotto without buying a ticket,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So if you're one of those people where you're not contributing,
yeah,
the world misses out.
yeah. No, yeah.
The world is still missing out because
Yeah, I'm laughing because I don't play the lotto and believe in it. But most definitely, man, yeah, you can't get into the ship or the plane without buying the ticket. It's definitely we need to get in there, to get in the game,
right.
and getting in the game also requires exercise, training. So it's that. So I'm trying to do that as well at the moment, just to exercise and train. But the people that compete in tournaments and Olympics, they don't train for eternity. At one point, there's a day where you're gonna have to go and perform.
Right.
After the training. So I feel like, yeah, man, probably it's time for me to go in and actually exercise what I've been exercising on, been training on, and training never stops, and you only grow from every performance. The guys that are in boxing, in sport, basically, they grow from every, in golf, they grow from every performance after training. They don't train forever; they go for tournaments. So I need to go for my tournaments. Yeah, I need to get rid of that thing in my mind that says I need to train, until when, until I get cramps on my get cramps on my calves and stuff. So yeah,
Cool.
yeah,
So, I mean, as we're talking, what can you do today, being Friday, the 6th of March,
yeah.
that moves you from motion into action?
Yeah,
Because motion is I'm going to read a book about podcasting.
yeah,
That's motion.
yeah,
The action is sitting in front of the camera and podcasting.
Yeah,
So what action steps can you take today,
yeah,
Friday, after this conversation? We still got just short of half a day to go.
yeah.
What can you do today that then says, right, I'm now in action, not just motion. I'm not just patting myself on the back and feeling comfortable because.
But this is action.
So I'm saying after this, what else can you do?
Yeah. Yeah, I can. I'll probably post something on Facebook. I'll probably post the fact that, from a financial perspective, when a bank says to you, "Congratulations, Mr. Taku, you qualify for 1 million worth of credit card or whatever," does not translate into affordability. So it's that versus calculations, Mr. Taku. You know, do I or do you do you afford this 1 million rand credit card? So I'll post something on that.
Okay.
That
So
yeah,
a lot of people falling for that trap.
yeah, yeah.
And do you know a couple of people yourself who've fallen in that trap of saying, "Oh, the bank has called me, so I'm now worthy," and not yet actually then done the calculations to actually say if I can actually afford it.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people have actually learned, not really learned, but they've gotten burnt by the banks from these type of things. But I think that a lot of people have not learned. One of the things that make me think and believe that a lot of people have not learned, simple things like when you see posts on social media about people mocking low or banks that are seen to be for low income earners, like Capitec. When I looked at Capitec, they have one of the lowest fees. You know, and then the other big banks like your FNBs and your Standard Bank have really high fees. They're really expensive from a fees perspective. But people feel proud and by saying that they bank with these banks. And at the same time, these are the same people that are complaining about their financial situation. But they're not like saying it actually. Maybe I need to relook this. I'm wasting a lot of money on fees on this bank instead of that bank. Why can't I go for a cheaper option?
So the interesting point you make then, so because part of it I think you were talking about, are we getting burnt by banks or are we burning ourselves with pride?
Yeah, yeah. It's. I think it's both. We get bent by the banks because we do not make the effort to financially educate ourselves.
But is that
And
the
then
problem with the bank or is that
it's a personal problem. It's a problem with me.
okay?
So if I don't do that, then it's a problem with me. And then also then there's a problem around that thing about my image, which when I take out my card, it must be a black card, it must be a silver card from it. So that is a deeper issue that we need to talk to, and it says now it's that self-image thing with how do people see me, which I've got this card, so I've got this much money. So there's a couple of problems with that, but I'm happy that you raised it because it's an issue, and especially amongst us black people, we I think we like to create this image that we've made it, and we're suffering and we have not made it. So I wanna talk to that about that, which I think as people we need to educate ourselves about money. Robert Kiyosaki always speaks about the fact that school never taught us about money. I was complaining, not really complaining, but I was saying to my mother last week, man, shit, what am I doing with geography now? What am I doing with biology now? Waste of my time. Money I use every single day, but no one actually bothered with. Actually, we need to be taught about money. I mean, this is something we use every day. So we were not. So we need to educate ourselves because I think that we don't know much about money. And yeah, and that's some of the stuff that I'm learning. I'm also learning with my financial astuteness and stewardship is not on point. I'm also learning that I need to tighten up on my financial management. Looking at my budget, my monthly budget, keeping on track what's coming in, what's going out, on a monthly, weekly.
What system do you use or
I've got a budget template that I use.
okay?
It's got all my expenses, in fact, my income and my expenses, and then the variance, what's left over. It's got every item there that I spend my money on a daily basis. It's got my budgeted, and then it's got my actual expense, and then the variance. So yeah, man. I look at that. Previously I was like looking at it like monthly, and then, but these days I'm finding that I'm looking at it like on a weekly basis. I see, man, shit, on takeaways. I'm like spending this much, on DSTV, man. Do I need that shit? What can I cut? Because the thing is now, I need to say now, out of everything that I've spent and what the surplus that I have, one of the courses that I've been to talks about, when you look at different investments, which in my cases will be property, I need to have a surplus. So what am I going to do with that surplus? So am I going to go party, go to a holiday? So I want to invest in property. So if I have a surplus, that's the amount of money that I am able to then play around, not play with, but to use to invest. So because I want to invest in property. So that's one of the things that I'm doing, because the budget is really the basics. It's really really the basic, and then yeah, and then other things. Yeah.
Cool. So do you automate the savings and investments, or is it just you get to see at the end of the month to say, hey, there's a variance between what I wanted to spend, what I actually spent, there's a surplus or there's a deficit, or do you have those
It's
automated saving
no,
or
it's
investments?
yeah. There's an app that I had, but that app is really, it's problematic, because the nice thing about the app is that it's linked to your cards, so you can link into your bank account, and then you can track your spend on a daily basis, and you can check. But I think there are bugs with the app that are like, they mess up your expenses and your numbers. So I decided, you know what, I'm gonna go to a simple spreadsheet, Excel spreadsheet, and I'm gonna use that, and then it allows me to track my stuff. Yeah. Now I think, Uti, I think now. I never used to think about my. This is how much I'm spending. This is not. I never used to think about those things, but it's those basic things I think that we need to learn as people, because I do want to invest and create assets, because if you if you have one source of income and you have multiple sources of expenses, then for me it makes me feel uncomfortable. I'm thinking, Goti, I only have one source of income. Hey, but yo, imali my poor my track. Yo, put my on all directions. So I'd like to have multiple sources of income, through assets. So I wanna build assets. I wanna create assets that will generate positive income for me. So yeah.
So what kind of percentage do you think of the people you grew up with are thinking the way you're thinking, have these systems that you are alluding to currently? So the guys you grew up with, what percentage do you think?
Taku, maybe less than, maybe 5 or less than 5%. People that I grew up with, people that I grew up with, look, some of them have passed away. Some of them, when I go to my mother's place, I see them drinking drugs. So I don't think that a lot of them think that like that, which is one of the reasons why some of us that have access to that information need to then pass on that information to people that don't have it, because some people are not dead or having or take drugs or alcohol or ruin their lives because they want to or choose to. It's just that people don't know certain things that they should know.
Right.
So when I came to rehab, I did not know that I was powerless over alcohol. I did not know that. I didn't even know that my addiction was actually a disease. I thought it was kind of like maybe there's something wrong with me, or maybe that's just how God created me. So I must just accept that. So I was like that up until I got to the light of the information that changed my mind and my behavior. So not a lot of them. So that's why we need to go out. We need to go to a election and talk to Amajita
Yeah.
about these things.
And then I wanted to ask you, so I was actually at a seminar the other day, and we started arguing about the importance of knowledge.
Yeah.